go. Okay, and I think that they do have foursomes. They socially distance.
Right.
Okay. Where did we leave off, sir?
We left off that we should be cautious when we learn with Chachamim. We shouldn't get burned, which was Mishnah number 10 in chapter 2.
That reminds me of a joke. I was walking, I think it was on Sukkot. We were walking around with the lulav and the etrog. Okay, and I was walking too close to Lionel, and I stepped on his tzitzis.
Oh no!
And I said, "You see what happens when you get too close to the rabbi?"
That's right.
And then I remembered this Mishnah: if you get too close, you get burnt. If you get too close, you step on his tzitzis.
So what does Rabbi Yoshua says? Ayin hara v'yetzer hara v'sinat habriot motzi'in et ha'adam min ha'olam. Evil eye and yetzer hara, the evil inclination, v'sinat habriot, the hatred of living things. Motzi'in removes a person from this world. So what's the difference between ayin hara and yetzer hara?
I think ayin hara is something external to you, and yetzer hara is internal.
Beautiful. Okay, and so I see they translate sinat habriot, humankind. But briot, really, I would say, is anything living. Do you think it means motzina ta'adam min ha'olam that the person's going to die early, or you're just sort of removed from society? Like this like takes you, like these are all things that remove you from people. You know, when you're angry, when you're jealous, when and you hate things. I mean, how do you function?
Or you're not in a state to be part of interacting with other people.
Right.
Or other people don't want to interact with you.
Well, that's for sure.
So why an eye? Why an evil eye? Okay, I was trying to think, is that because something that projects? But so does your hearing. So I'm trying to balance to see where that comes.
I mean, ayin hara really, I think, goes back to the Torah. Really, I mean, time after time, we would want what we saw, which is essentially, I think, one of the reasons that we have the mitzvah of tzitzit, and that why we wear them outside. Uritem otam, that you should see them, leman tiskeru, so that we should remember that. It like helps keep us on track, The
truth, I don't see them. The truth is I feel them, okay, because they're like, below my waist. Some people, can't see below their waist.
Right.
But, normally I look straight ahead. But I guess maybe the eye is what, the window of the soul?
That's what people say.
Okay.
Anyways, let's move on. Maybe things will connect. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Yehi mamon chavercha chaviv alecha kshelach. Your friend's possessions, your friend's money, really, right? Mamon is usually translated as money, should be as dear to you as your own. Vehatken atzmecha lilmod Torah she'ena yerushalach. And you should correct yourself. You should be in an appropriate way to study Torah, she'ena yerushalach, that it's not your inheritance. So this is a very interesting statement. We sort of always think that we inherit the Torah. V'chol masecha yiyu l'shem shamayim, and all of your actions should be l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven. So I'm a firm believer that things aren't haphazard, that sentences are not just randomly stuck together. So I think one of the challenges is is to find the common thread between these phrases. Above, obviously, really trying to understand each one. So, your friend's property, your friend's possessions, your friend's wealth should be as dear to you as your own, right? So maybe this is an answer to the ayin hara. You see your neighbor just got a nice new shiny car. Well, how come I can't have a new, how come I can't have a new shiny car? Elliot, you're on mute. You're still on mute.
I'm sorry. You're not supposed to covet your neighbor's anything.
That's right.
You have a shiny new car.
Right, but this is the positive. So it's not only don't covet, but now we're saying that it should be, not only should you not covet, but it should be chaviv alecha. You should be happy for him,
I agree. That I agree.
V'hatken atzmecha lelmod Torah, and you need to make a tikkun. You need to make a reparation on yourself. You need to always be, this is a very famous word when we talk about things like tshuva and things like, bettering yourself. Tikkun. You should make sure that you're fixed to study Torah, right? So perhaps these are related because when you're genuinely happy for someone else, that does good things for you. That fills you with the feeling of happiness, right? Which is great. If I'm jealous, if I'm bitter, if I'm angry, then I'm not in a good way. But if I'm feeling happiness, if I'm thrilled about something as, that really doesn't have anything to do with me, but it has to do with my friend Joe. Joe just got a great deal at work. Then I become enriched as well. She'enai shalach. So this really stands out to me. That is not your that fix yourself to study Torah because it's not your inheritance. And this one, that all your actions should be l'shem shamayim.
So Rabbi Yossi is saying that basically you should have a healthy outlook, healthy, positive attitude in how you go about life and how you interact with other people. And Rabbi Yoshua is talking about someone who is the opposite of that. He has a negative attitude to life and to people.
Yeah, beautiful. But what's the meaning she'ena Yerushalach? Didn't we inherit the Torah?
Yeah, I think it refers to someone who is father and grandfather are rabbis, and he says, "Oh, I don't have to study it because it's already inherited." So you should always learn the Torah as if it's something new that is not in your house and you're discovering it for the first time.
Beautiful.
Even if your father is a rabbi and your brother is a rabbi and all that.
I love it. Beautiful.
Maybe also that we shouldn't take it for granted. Like we're inheriting it, but just because we're inheriting it, we shouldn't take it for granted, and we should still make ourselves ready to study Torah.
Beautiful. Maybe it also relates to the mamon chavercha. Even, let's say mamon chavercha can be the intellectual wealth that your friend has. Don't be jealous. Be happy for that person. But you also have to look inwards, and you have to study too, because you don't just inherit it. You need to work for it. I like it. V'chol masecha, and then you'll realize that all your actions are l'shem shamayim. Beautiful. Let's see what Rabbi Shimon says. Hevei zahir b'kriyat Shema uvatfila. Be cautious with the reading of Shema, uvatfila, and tefillah. So tefillah, when we speak about tefillah in the Mishnah and the Gemara, we're speaking about Shmona Esrei. That is what is called tefillah. So it says, be cautious. וכשאתה מתפלל, אל תעש תפילתך קבע. Very interesting Mishnah. And when you pray, don't make your prayers keva, like fixed, stiff and rigid, right? Kavua means like set. Ela rachamim betachanunim lifnei hamakom baruch hu. But you should have rachamim, you should have compassion, mercy, tachanunim, also compassion, grace, lifnei hamakom, in front of Hashem, blessed is He. Shenemar, because it is said in Yoel, ki chanu v'rachum hu erech hapayim, v'rav chesed v'nicham al hara'ah. Because chanu v'rachum, grace and mercy, compassion, hu erech apayim v'rav chesed, is slow to anger, v'rav chesed, and a lot of kindness, v'nicham al hara'ah, and it goes against evil. Or, really hara'ah might mean the, evil decree. Ve'al tehi rasha bifnei atzmecha, and don't be a rasha bifnei atzmecha, which is hard to translate. Bifnei atzmecha is like in your own self. So, another interesting Mishnah that we could possibly connect to the previous ones. Don't make your tefillah keva, which is something that kind of goes. This is sort of weird because tefillah is so kavua, it's so set. We have the time of day we have to do it. We have the book we got to do it from. We have the words in front of us.
This is the point.
I think it's summarized. Sorry, go.
I think that it refers to don't do it from your, like a routine, Beth-El peh, or do it always from the book as if it's the first time you're reading it.
Right.
And not as a routine, because as a routine, it can get spoiled and you don't even notice. Which I just, this Shabbat, I was listening to a Chazanit from Miami, and she was singing Israel, Israel, and it so annoyed me that she says hell. But I didn't say anything because she's used to it and
Right.
she's doing it derech keva,
So I've actually never heard Yisrael. Something that I often correct and bothers me is Yisrael. When people say Yisrael, I'm like, we don't have to yell.
No, I have to, I think it was a Don Olam. No, it wasn't a Don Olam.
Right,
I don't remember the song. It's one of the last songs of the service.
right,
And she's singing Israel, beautiful voice.
right.
And she's singing Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, no, next time she's not going to do it. And she's doing it again and
Right,
again.
right.
I think I'm going to write an email to her.
You should, but as someone who receives a lot of these types of emails, there's a nice way, and I'm sure that's exactly how you would do it, but just as you should say, as a fan and as someone that was on your service, blah, 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 because us cantors, we could be very sensitive. But yeah, I think that's also the same thought that I
This
have.
is from Keva. Tfilatcha Keva.
That's it,
because
exactly.
She's so used to it.
And I think it also links to the last Mishnah where it says she'ena yerushalach, like just because it's in the siddur, like don't take it just as your inheritance. You need to taken atzmech, you need to fix yourself, that every day you have a new rachamim, you have a new tachanunim, that is new layers, which happens from time. I mean, I'm first to admit, very often davening is by rote, and then we're just going through it, and but then you find one of those times when it just hits and it just brings you to a new level. And I think it's unrealistic to expect every time you open up the Siddur that you're going to be blown away with inspiration. But it's like anything else in life, you don't always go for a walk and are blown away by the beauty of nature. But if you go for a walk every day, you'll have those times, Like I always look at tefillah like you're training, right? So many people want to have inspiration, want to be inspired, and they sit around waiting for it. I'm gonna be inspired today, and then I'm waiting for all sorts of, no one's inspiring me, right? No, taken atzmecha. You need to fix yourself, and how do? You train for it. You got to get up every day, put on talis and tefillin. You got to get up every day and say the blessings, and you'll find v'chol maasecha yiyu l'shem shamayim, that all of your actions are for the sake of heaven. And that'll open up tefillah, that it won't just be keva. It'll have rachamim, tachanunim. That's how I see it.
I'm reading this book. It was very, very good. Okay, he's summarizing the last few points. Rabbi Yeshua cautioned us to beware of an evil eye. Rabbi Yossi said the remedy is the study of Torah. Rabbi Shimon said that prayer is important, but meaningful prayer, not prayer by rote. So the three different rabbis have three different ways, to try to have a better life.
Right.
Okay. And this is really a starting point, I think, for us. And then you have to extrapolate yourself on what makes a better life for me. Okay. So
I would think that it's all of the above.
Absolutely. It's a little bit of everything.
I'm having a little bit of trouble from the Shnei Emar. I mean, I can accept what it's saying there. Let me just look at the English. For he is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, abounding in kindness, renouncing punishment. Yeah, I can accept that, but Hashem has not been consistent. You could definitely say Hashem has been quick to anger, and he has been very quick to give punishment. You think about on Mount Sinai, where Moses had to plead to not wipe out the Jewish people, and how many other times had Moshe had to speak to Hashem and say, forgive them, etc. Yeah. So God has been quick to punish and quick to anger, and has had to be mollified. So we're maybe picking something, but it's not necessarily consistent, that statement.
Right.
What I learned in life, you look at people. I mean, I look at my parents and my father as an example. I learned what to do from him, but I also learned what not to do from him. Okay, so when I saw that he did something I didn't think was right, I said, you know what? I'm seeing what he's doing or what he did. I see the results. I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I guess that's how we learn.
That is how we learn, and I think it's interesting just to pick up on what Avram said, is that Shema. I mean, even inside this prayer, it says v'charaf Hashem, that Hashem is going to get angry, and if right, so that tefillah starts out v'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. You should love your God with all your heart, blah blah blah, and then when you look further into the Shema, what happens to those who don't? V'charaf Hashem v'lo yiyeh matar, that like Hashem is going to get angry and there won't be rain and the land won't produce and you will be miserable. So yeah, Hashem definitely gets angry, definitely, punishes. Definitely there's a side to Hashem that is vengeful and that is jealous. But what I think this is saying is that when we bring Rachamim and Chanunim, Hashem brings Chanun v'Rachum. And that when we come with Chanun v'Rachum, we get Rav Chesed and, and slow to anger, kindness, mercy, and grace also from Hashem. So
that's what we should strive for.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's not even what we should strive for. It's what we should do.
Oh, you know what? It's easy to say.
For sure. 100% it's easy to say.
Mhm.
That's why we should probably study this Mishnah every day.
We'll do it by rote.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can do one more. Maybe two. Rabbi Elazar says, Hevei shakud lilmod Torah. Be diligent in your study of Torah. V'da ma shetashiv la'apikoros. And know how to respond to an apikoros, to a non-believer. V'da lifnei mi ata mel. Know in front of whom you work. V'ne'eman hu val malachtecha sheishalem lach schar peulatecha. And you should know who is your boss. That is going to pay your schar, pay your wage, peulatecha, from your peula, from your work, your activity. I don't think we're only talking about Hashem here. Also, it's not.
I think they are talking about Hashem.
No, of course no, 100%. I think the rabbis are talking about Hashem. For sure, for the first time.
לפני מי אתה אומר is like לפני מי אתה עומד.
Right.
And it's פעולתך, not פעולתך. Because it's using female. שישלם לך.
Right. Yeah, I got it.
שיער פעולתך. So maybe he's talking to women. So women should also do praying.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, נאמן הוא בעל מלאכתך, שישלם לך שכר פעולתך.
So
is he talking to male and female?
I'm sorry?
Is he talking to men and women? Why are they changing the from men to women, the speech?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
The epicurus is the non-believer, so you should know what to answer them when they question you. The non-believers, you should know what to answer them. Dalif ma shetashiv la'epicurus.
That's what I understand. But first, you have to be diligent with your study.
Diligent to study.
You can't just speak about what you don't know.
So if you want to talk to a heretic, somebody who's a non-believer, first you have to know your basics, but then you also have to know how they think or what they studied or what they don't believe in, so that you can talk to them on their level. Okay, because I know some rabbis talk to people, they're at a completely different level, and I'm just not there.
Right.
So I guess you have to learn how to speak to a level, at a level that with the person you're speaking to, we're trying to convince.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But we got to know, we have to understand the Torah, and then we have to understand what this person is thinking and where he got his idea. So we have to study what he does or doesn't do, and that's where you can address it. Okay, that makes sense.
Just not sure how the last part fits in. And then your Baal Melachtecha will be faithful to you and will pay you and you will get the reward.
But he says, בעל מלאכתך ישלם לך שכר פעולתך. You will get the reward for what you are doing. Not more, not less.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you do, the more reward you're going to get.
Oh, that's
No?
Yeah. Right, it doesn't say just schar. It says schar pu'ulatech.
Exactly.
Right.
So you will be rewarded for what you are doing.
Okay.
I'm going to have to see how these two sentences, these two ideas come together. They seem so remote. Okay. 9:30.
I mean, we're essentially coming to the end of chapter 2, and it seems very apparent that the theme of these Mishnahs are, on the one hand, study, but on the other hand, maseh, right? So that there's been this sort of underlying theme of action, right? There was a Mishnah that learning Torah without action is nothing. It's, bitul zman. It's a right way. So these Mishnahs are geared for people, or for us all, that have to have maseh, action, and that, the rabbis realize that people have to go out into the world, right? Even the Mishnah that we saw, that if you want to go learn something, go out into the world, go see what's the best way to do this or that. And I think that, again, it's being very pragmatic in understanding that these are not people that are learning Torah all day with rabbis, because if they were, they wouldn't have to talk to apikoruses, right? But they're obviously going out into the world where they're going to be faced with people that don't believe in what you think and in what you believe. So what's it saying? First, it's telling us don't have an ayin hara, and all that. But then it's saying, know how to speak to them. You need to be diligent with your Torah, because if you don't know what you're talking about, then you shouldn't even be speaking to these people. And know who it is that you toil for, right? Hashem is, and then Hashem will be faithful to you. You show your faith in Hashem. Hashem is going to show faith in you. So I think it does go together.
In the second sentence of what we were studying, is it really saying that you as a person need to be knowledgeable enough to know the attitude and feelings of your employer, such that that employer will respect you to reward you for your labor?
Beautiful. So that could be also...
That's it. There's the connection.
That can also be a person that you work for, like outside in the world. And it could also be Hashem. Hashem is our employer.
Good for you, Avram. You got it.
I love it.
There's the connection.
It's teamwork,
continued.
Elliot.
I'm sorry?
It's teamwork.